what's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for coming out. We got a packed house tonight, which is always great. Just quickly, show of hands, how many people in here, it's their first time coming to a DSD meetup? Quite a few. Thank you so much for coming out. Hopefully we don't disappoint. So we'll kind of go through a couple housekeeping items, and we have a very interesting thing that we have brought in for tonight, and then we have our speaking session as well. If you haven't already, the pizza in the corner is completely free, so help yourself and all that good stuff. Couple things. So for one, my name is Danny Thompson. I'm Director of Technology at a company called This.Labs. I'm also one of the leads for DSD, Dallas Software Developers Group. You can be anywhere in Dallas you decide to hang out with us, so it really means a lot to us. Thank you. We have a couple other admin in the room with us tonight. We have Dennis Garcia over here, the man of the thing. Yes. And I know I just saw him. Well, Eric Anderson over there in the back. Eric Anderson. Fun fact, he is known as the world's happiest software engineer. He is known as that. We also have Clint. I see Clint over there. Clint, what's going on, Clint? Everything we do is, honestly, it's a lot of effort and work, but it's really just the collective work together. I just realized this thing is still playing music. Whoops. Let's just do that. There we go. All right. Yeah. That's how you debug in prod right there. All right. So a couple things. DSD, it's a very different kind of meetup group than compared to the other ones. I think at this point, we're probably one of the most active groups in the Dallas area that I could think of. But on top of that, we also have some of the biggest community events around, not necessarily in size, but because I think size doesn't really matter, but it's more along the lines of impact. We're really thinking about how we can create impact within the community. And so we do a lot of these events. We don't monetize it in any way, shape, or form. We don't make a penny off of it. To be honest, we probably have had talks where we thought we should, but we don't. When it comes towards sponsorships for this, it honestly just goes back to covering the cost of food, right? When it comes to, for example, we do a conference as well. So if you haven't, for a lot of the new people here, we do a conference that's called the Commit Your Code Conference. That conference is in September this year. It looks like we're gonna have a little over 100 speakers for that one. It's gonna be 4 tracks, Java, JavaScript, Cloud, and .NET. And the tickets start at $30. 100% of all ticket sales are donated to charity. We don't keep a penny from it. And with the ticket sale, your meal is covered for 2 days. So we try to make sure that there's a ton of bang for your buck in that regard. We have some pretty notable big name speakers coming to this one. So I think it's really, really great that the community is even coming behind it. So if it's not on your radar, please make it so. I believe tickets are gonna be going on sale in less than 2 weeks. But I will say that I've already seen people posting that they've bought their flights and all that good stuff. We definitely want Dallas to be at the forefront of people buying the tickets. But of course, we can't exclude anybody that picks one up, right? So if you are within the city of Dallas, I do implore you to try and pick them up sooner rather than later once they go on sale. If you're in the Discord, you'll be notified first before anybody else in the public that the tickets are on sale. With that being said, we do one more thing with our meetup group that I don't think any other meetup group in Dallas does. And we do a cohort program. We do not monetize a cohort in any way, shape, or form. It is not a boot camp program. I'm pretty psyched to say, if you follow me online, you know I love doing the They Got a Job post. We got quite a few that are on pause right now that are gonna be going out real soon. Quite a few people from the cohort have already started landing opportunities. They've been landing in interviews where maybe previously they were struggling with it. So I'm pretty happy about that. So what is the cohort? The cohort is a completely free program where over the course of 6 weeks, we put junior developers on teams building projects that are actually worth talking about in an interview, when networking and all that good stuff. They're not building to do apps or like a basic e-commerce app. They're going significantly deeper than that. And a lot of y'all don't know this, but the cohort just recently graduated. Honestly, yeah, round of applause for the cohort, please. Over the course of those 6 weeks, they're building projects, and with building those projects, they're being guided by professional software developers in the industry. We had some volunteers from small organizations, big tech. We had some people from Amazon, Meta, big financial organizations. We had Data Nimbus in the house. All these great companies just donating their time. Nobody got paid. We didn't get paid because we don't collect anything. They're just there because they want to see somebody succeed. And so I think that's phenomenal that they give back to the community, because without them, we wouldn't have the reach that we had. We prioritize people within the city of Dallas to be a part of the program. But once those priority seats are taken up, we then extend it outside. So this is the first cohort ever we have had a fully dedicated international team, Team Nigeria. It was an entire team in Nigeria being guided by professional software developers in the industry in Nigeria, making phenomenal work. We had teams in Texas, New York, et cetera. We had 13 teams in total this cohort. We're probably going to do one more cohort before the conference, more than likely. I will be honest, me and the other admin, we need to take a break. We're teeter-tottering on burnt out, but to be honest, this cohort was probably one of the hardest ones that we've ever done, logistically and otherwise. But what I thought would be really cool, since they just graduated, is we have some of the teams here tonight. Not all, but some. And I thought it'd be really cool if we can all, as a community, celebrate them a little bit. And instead of just celebrating them with claps and something empty, I thought we could do something of substance. And so what I thought was, if we have people representing the teams, I'll call out the teams one by one, they can have 2 minutes to come up here and just demo the thing that they built with their team over the course of 6 weeks. We had teams using JavaScript stack, so definitely in line with the theme tonight. But we also had a couple teams using Java on the back end. We had some teams using .NET. We had some AI attributions and things like that. So I thought we can kind of do that real fast before we get to the speakers. As a community as a whole, we can celebrate everybody. Teams, if you are here representing your team, we're capping it literally at 2 minutes. So when you come up here, pull your phone out, set the timer right now for 2 minutes. And as soon as you get up, just press that go button. So that way we're not killing a bunch of time. But if you are here, please celebrate everybody with us. Be quick, fast, kind of give you an idea of everything we did. Dennis led a team. I led a team. We have quite a few other leaders in the room. I know Jasmine led a team and others as well. So we'll kind of go through that one by one. If I call out the team name, just tell me if somebody's here from that team. I'm using everyone's favorite wheel of names. And so we will go off of that and we'll go from there. Just in case you want to hear that. Oh, wow. Team Jasmine is first. Team Jasmine. Eric, I'm going to move your laptop.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Taryn King, and I'm here with my teammate, Felipe Sanchez. And just quick question for everybody, okay? Who has rented an apartment and you've dealt with an app that didn't work, a tenant portal that didn't work, you couldn't log in? Just raise your hand if you couldn't register guest, any of that, okay. I've dealt with that too, and it's not always fun. So as a solution, we created Elite Space. So this is a tenant app, a smart app that allows guests to be able to manage things like managing smart lockers, managing, registering guests for parking, things of that nature. So to tell you about this, the journey of our user would start with secure auth. So once a user is added to our database, the tenant is able to register and sign up for an account on our app. So this is one place, like a one-stop shop where they can view their lease, they can register guests for parking, they can manage smart packages. For smart lock, smart packages, when they log into the app onto the desktop, they're able to, with one click, unlock or lock the front door. They can also view packages that have been delivered, and with one click, they can open and see what that smart lock code is and grab that package. And then once it's selected or picked up, then the UI is dimmed to kind of give them a nice user experience. Guest access and parking. So a user can quickly register a guest. They can enter their license plate number and generate a parking pass for them for 24 hours, or they can extend it if they need to. They can also use our fun little UI, and they can pick out a parking spot. I'm not sure if you saw it was up there a moment ago. but they can interact with that to pick a parking spot and register guests for parking. So I'm going to turn it over to Felipe, and he will take us the rest of the way.
Hello, everyone. Okay, so for our digital lease feature that we implemented, we're going to be fetching information from the database. That's going to pull up the lease that you see here. Once you have the lease, you can both digitally sign it. You can also review it there. The same process works for the renewals. Is this okay? It's not too loud? Okay, sounds good? Okay. And then for our tenant support and AI escalation, basically the way it works is you can, on this form, you can select a specific complaint that you may have. Based on that complaint, you can add a description and an image. And then what's going to happen, the cool part is there's going to be an AI integration. So the AI itself is going to take that description, and based on that description, it's going to escalate or de-escalate the complaint. And then on the management dashboard, you can also see the complaints listed there. They're color-coded as well. And then, yep. For our tech stack, we built it using Figma for the designs. We use Jira for the project management. And then for our tech stack, we used React, TypeScript, Redux, Vite, and Material UI on the front end, Node.js and Express on the back end. We used Supabase for our database. And we deployed on Netlify and Render. And then this is a shout out to the team. We have our team lead, Jasmine Vo, who is right here. Melissa. We have the developers, Eddie Maceda, Felipe Sanchez, myself, Justin Cloud, Taryn King over there, Patrick T, Michelin Douglin, and Maria Sandley. So shout out to everybody.
Hi, everyone. My name is John Drake, and I will be here presenting on behalf of my team who couldn't be here today. This app is called Dwellify, and it is a smart apartment management system for landlords. And the major pain points we are aiming to solve with this, as you know, these kinds of internal proprietary applications can be very convoluted, difficult to use, difficult to find what you're looking for. So we aim to solve that, and there's two main things I want to talk about. So first, we made the flow from lease creation to the lease becoming active very intuitive. So if a lease was to be created, it will then go to the pending state on the dashboard. And from pending, it can be clicked and signed, and then it will transition to this active state. And we could see all of our leases and their statuses on this table here. So it's very nice how this flow works from no lease to pending lease to a signed and active lease. And the second major pain point we hope to solve was with sort of accessing the information you want. Not every landlord is a wannabe database admin. So we have where in a pretty intuitive way, the apartment, the tenant name, the lease status can be clicked, and then we can navigate from here to the apartment, and we don't have to go to like our own like tenant table, apartment table, lease table, and we could just navigate all of these details pages seamlessly, add or remove features to the apartment if needed without having to create a whole new apartment in the database. Similar thing with access control to our tenants. We can get to their information from there. And complaints. This is all in one of just 4 views from our sidebar here: dashboard, access control, complaints, and settings, and everything else is just navigated to in between each other in a very a way that makes sense and should make that process easier and not have anything unnecessary that is going to complicate things. So for our tech stack, we used React and a Node backend. And I have my team and our LinkedIn's here. And then I also have a QR code for the repository here, if anyone wants to check that out. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Roxy. This is Josh. Josh is the MVP for our team. So my team and I interviewed a professional plumber to find out their actual pain points. These included expensive scheduling and inventory systems, large databases of prices, and timesheet management regarding estimated job length predictions. In our build, we hit the project requirements as well as this particular plumbing company's pain points. So the clicking will commence now. The client will book an appointment online by either selecting the issue or putting it into the AI assistant. Then they'll select a date and time, which includes a job length estimate. Once the client sees the confirmation screen, I'm jumping ahead, sorry. You good? Okay. Once the client sees the confirmation screen, the plumber reviews the request via email as well as on the admin dashboard. They will see the inventory status and then they can update it on the dashboard accordingly. Once accepted or rejected, the client receives an email with the appointment information. The confirmed appointments can then be synced to the Google Calendar for an up-to-date schedule at a glance. Our tech stack was React, Tailwind CSS, and some Framer motion on the front end. And then on the back end was Java, Postgres, AWS, and GitHub Actions for auto deployment through Netlify. The end. The end.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Reese.
I'm Diego.
I'm Ryan.
And we're here to present Ezra to you today. Ezra is an apartment management solution dedicated to alleviating the pain and taking all the pain out of renting for tenants and apartment managers alike. Our goal is simple. Apartment managers and tenants have to deal with so many different types of software to do so many basic, simple tasks to get through simply just renting, signing a lease, submitting a work order. How about combining that all into one? And on top of that, incorporating an AI solution to help users navigate the application themselves.
I'm gonna do a quick demo of the application real quick. So this is our admin dashboard. You have access to pretty much all things from the dashboard, but mostly just recent stuff. But if you need to look at stuff that's deeper or like earlier than that, you can go to the pages from here. This is our work orders page and complaints. They can check any work orders they may have or complaints. And then they can check packages. They can add packages. And packages are smart lockers. So if anybody has any mail, they can the admins can put it in there and then the tenants can unlock it. And then here they can see more complaints. I mean leases too over here. And then we made a tenant side. So when you log in, it's based off tenant or admin. And then this is what that tenant side looks like. They have access to see how many packages they have. They can add guests to guest parking. They can view their lease. They can view work orders or complaints. And they can go to these pages to create them using modals. And we also made a Ezra chatbot. I'm gonna hand it back to Reese so he can show y'all.
Yeah, so we have a chatbot individually where a user, if you can see this bottom corner over here, it's kind of stuck over there. But if you look, you can pull up a conversation and start talking with an actual chatbot that can help you navigate, like, how do I submit a work order? And in that way, our application specifically talks to the user, telling them how to navigate the application, guiding a person to a solution whenever they have issues actually accessing any sort of feature in the application. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. Tonight we are representing our SmileWorks team led by Jerry and David. And we chose this project because, as we all know, even in these times where we have a lot of technology and advanced applications, there's still clinics, offices, businesses that are relying on paper-based systems. So that is not very reliable, and that can lead to errors, loss of data, and all of that stuff, not good for the business. So SmileWorks is a dental management system that provides a solution to all those problems and streamlines all those processes. And we are going to do a demo for our application. That way you all can know what are the features that this system has. And this is Leon. He will be presenting right now too.
Hello, everybody. My name is Leon. Right. So let's just kind of jump into it, right? So our MVP for this entire project was we were looking for a treatment plan. We wanted to have a treatment plan tracking so that we could make sure that every patient that was entered into our clinic was able to be tracked by the dentist and everybody in the office. We also wanted to make sure that we had insurance verification, patient recall system, access for x-rays and image management to make sure that all patients had all the necessary images. Procedure cost estimation, supply inventory management, and patient education content system, which would be used for patients whenever they were out of treatment, just to educate them on next steps. Right. So our architecture and design was a full MERN stack. So our front end was created using React and Next.js, while our back end was using Node.js and Express, and our database was MongoDB. And we deployed it using Docker and Kubernetes. All right. And now to the demo. All right, your turn. Oh, yes, sorry.
Yeah, so here, the first screen that we see is the dashboard for the staff to look the appointments, and we have a quick access area where we have the cost estimation. Maybe we want to see how much is the teeth cleaning or some braces. So we have all of that here available. We also have these like create patient treatments and to go to the patient area. We have all the lists for the patient. We have some pagination here, and if we click on a patient, we have all this information. If we want to edit this, we have the button right here. We also have the same cost estimation that we saw in the quick access. Notification management in case the staff want to notify for future appointments or missed appointments for the patient. Here we see the current treatment details. So this is the last treatment that the patient was working with. If we go to the current treatment, we see more detailed information. We have the x-rays. That way we have all the information for that specific treatment in this place. What else? We have the treatment history in case the patient has different treatment, let's say teeth cleaning, braces, all of that will be here. And the billing history of the patient here as well. The schedule, we can create appointments, have the weekly view here. Right now, we don't have any data to show, but that's what is that for? The treatments, all the treatments that the clinic provides. This application was built with, what is that called? I forgot. But to scale in case this organization has more clinics, so we can extend, I forgot the word, but we can extend this application and make it work with different clinics, with different staff. Inventory, we have all the inventory here, the unit price stock, we can add a product to the inventory, and we also have orders in case the staff want to order more things that the clinic needs. We have insurance, billing, users that are the dentist, the hygienist, and the admin that can change password for all the users. Yeah, so this, and we have some filters here to filter through name, address, and yeah, this was like a general overview of what SmileWorks is for. So thank you so much.
Okay, so have y'all ever gone to a restaurant and been disappointed when they ran out of stock of your favorite menu item? Not only does that suck for us consumers, but it also sucks for like restaurants, since that means missing out on profits. How can restaurants get out of outdated manual workflows to prevent this from happening in the future? These are problems that our software, DineFlow, aims to answer. DineFlow is a machine learning automation-driven management system that handles tedious tasks such as inventory tracking and goods ordering, leaving businesses to have more time to handle complex issues. DineFlow analyzes historical orders through stats models to capture seasonal patterns in ingredient usage to forecast both predictive prep recommendations as well as traffic projections to ensure that your business is prepared for anything. Here is Brandon to talk about the POS as well as the order management.
All right. So when an order is made in DineFlow's built-in point of sale, the new order is then sent, well, whenever Bell gets there. Gives us a second. So the new order is sent into the current order page shown right here. This will allow management to keep track of all orders going through the kitchen and their status as they're completed. Once an order has that completed status, then the ingredients used for that order are subtracted from the current inventory, which is then reflected in the inventory tracker. And that order is then shown in the completed orders page here. And then here's Jacob with backend stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so our backend is just a simple REST API. We built it using Node Express. The ORM is Prisma, and the database is PostgreSQL. Yeah, so we're able to integrate with different supplier APIs, and yeah, that was pretty much all for the backend. Keelan, you'll wrap it up for us, right?
So to bring this all together, we're going to go ahead and basically explain the importance of both the front end and the back end in the database. So whenever you're calling over to the front or the back end, you're able to pull multiple calls through menu items, orders, tracking your inventory, and everything in between, such as also including your waste metrics and productivity metrics. So it goes beyond just simple integration with API. It also able to give you kind of more of an understanding of how to be able to pull information back and forth through automation process. So we use Figma overall to do the wireframe process, and we're also able to use Jira for task management. Thank you all for your time, and don't let your business run slow. Use DineFlow.
Okay. Hi, my name is Rick, and this is Abiram, and this is our solution to the apartment management project, and this is Smart Living. And yeah, this is our team, and we, as many people have already talked about during the presentations here, the apartment management process is very often very difficult, very tedious, and involves a lot of different softwares that are hard to keep track of. So we really wanted to focus with this on keeping everything in one place and really having a all-in-one solution for that issue. And yeah.
So for the front end, we use React and White, and for the back end, we use Django plus, and for the database, we use SQLite and Postgres for both production and development. And we host it on Netlify and Render. And we had like several challenges, including like with the backend with modeling and also like connecting in the front end and back end, but we overcame it. And here's the apartment management includes a lot of data. And here's a sample year diagram, and it looks complex, but we use foreign keys and SQL to make it simple. And now you can do the demo.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, so this is our app. We gave some quick and easy logins for both sides, so you can quickly see how the tenant and the landlord side looks. For the landlord, it takes a much more administrative role, and you can see all of the different users that use the platform, as well as all of the leases associated with them. You can renew the said leases from here. You can also go through and edit any user info, and it just really goes through anything that you would need to do from an apartment management standpoint. You can consider access control as letting people into the building, as far as you can issue parking permits, issue temporary keys for guests to get into the building. Sorry, I'm kind of trying to move fast because I know we got a time limit here, but you can go through complaints and notify individual tenants about complaints that have been filed against their specific apartments. And if we go back to the tenant side of things and we go to the complaint side, you can see that it lists when a complaint has been filed against them and they can handle that from here. And if we just go to the lease management, it will only populate with leases that are associated with that tenant, and they can sign those leases from there. And it also gives you opportunities to smart control the apartment, where it will you can lock and unlock a security locker that takes in packages for the given tenant, which it updates with the last date and it shows all the previous unlocks. And yeah, without going into too much more detail, that was smart living.
This a good distance? All right. Hi, everybody. I'm David Ogden.
Hey, I'm Z Marshall.
And today we're representing Team Aryan and Team Dennis. For our cohort project, we chose to do the apartment portal. We chose the apartment portal because it came with a multitude of problems that we see in a lot of the current solutions that are out there. To solve these problems, we made a fully integrated system where tenants and admin can communicate efficiently. Management can leverage AI to solve reported issues, as well as a bunch of other features for both the guest and the tenant. So now for our stack, we use PostgreSQL on the back end, ASP.NET Core for the back end, and then we use React on the front end. And so now let's go look at it. Whoa. Not at my settings. All right, so when you log in and you are an admin user, you are met with the admin dashboard. Right away, you see a bunch of pressing notifications. That could be issues from tenants, or it could be insights. It could just be kind of just anything. And then you're met with a bunch of hot buttons as well to manage issues. That's where you can see all the issues that are reported. You could register a tenant and manage leases. And now to the fun part, we get to the insights. And so with the insights, it takes all of the reported issues from the last 24 hours and it aggregates them by the type of issue. And so that will return a summary and a suggestion for the admin, like for the admin to solve this issue. Sorry, and then moving on, you can see the latest issues as well. Again, that's just the most recently reported issues. And then on the tenant side, again, you're met with your notifications. And so you can see like this one is an issue, the pool has mold, and it's submitted. So they immediately know the status of their issues. Again, they have their hot buttons to report issues, manage guests if they want to add guest access, control the locks on their door. That's a pretty nifty little feature. And then they can manage their current lease as well. And then to wrap it up, we have the current guests. They can add more, and they can view their packages that are currently waiting in their locker. So this was our presentation. Thank you for sitting through our demo. Tried to fake you out. And if you're looking for the next member on your team, consider someone from Team Aryan and Team Dennis.
All right, appreciate it, y'all. Sorry about that. Thank you, Dallas software developers, and commit your code. My name is Joe Guado, and this is Stacy Sutherland. We're honored to introduce Tenet, our smart apartment application.
All right, our team of developers set out to address the everyday challenges. Okay. Our team of developers set out to address the everyday challenges faced by tenants living in apartment communities, frustration with living experience. Our mission was to create solutions that benefit both tenants and property managers while showcasing the modern technologies we use to bring our app to life.
We built our app on top of the Next.js framework with TypeScript, Tailwind on the front end, Prisma Supabase on the back end, and AppWrite for login and authentication. We use a Figma wireframe that allowed our developers to work asynchronously on various portions of the application.
Okay, as far as the tenant experience, we have 6 core features. Okay, we have the ability to view the lease. Go to door lock. Okay, the lease management. And we can create a guest parking pass from here. And from the dashboard at the bottom, you can see the active parking passes. And they are set to expire after 24 hours. We also have the messages. A tenant can message the admin, the apartment administration, and also the apartment administration can message them back. And then we also have the package locker. And on the package locker, it just creates a unique access code for them to pick up their packages. We also have a one-stop report a noise complaint. And the door lock, we have the ability to remotely lock and unlock the door. And if you have a guest coming and you want to give them temporary access, then you can create a guest key there and email it to them. And then our solutions give freedom and control to tenants. Pardon? Oh, and the AI agent. Okay, so sometimes the leasing office is not open or it's after hours or whatnot. So we created an AI agent called Tenant Agent, and where you can ask all your questions. Where do I go to create a guest parking pass?
Guest parking passes can be created from the navigation in the header at the top of the page. Is there anything else I can help you with?
No, that's it. Our solutions give freedom and control to tenants, enhancing the quality of living one community at a time.
Thank you for allowing us to demo Tenant. Please check out our GitHub repo for more details on the developers and the technologies that we used.
That was the last team. Thank y'all for bearing with us on that one. Every meetup, we don't have presentations in the beginning. So just to set the expectation for next time. But really, I think a lot of the teams covered a lot. And given the time constraint, a lot of them didn't even go into some of the complexities. Like, for example, my team with the complexities of setting up that conversational AI, that was quite a bit. I know for a lot of the teams, their backends were extremely heavy. And I know this seemed like a very UI-focused experience. There was a lot there. And so I encourage you at the networking session at the end of this, maybe approach some of the teams and talk to them about it. I think anybody here would be happy to geek out about the things that they built today. With that being said, really happy with how everything went so far. And so we'll kind of jump into the meetup. And so I think, no? Okay. Y'all didn't see nothing there. All right, cool. So we're going to go into our main 4 speakers that we have here today. So I think we're going to start first with actually one of the team leads, Eleazar Hernandez. Let's go. So he's a software engineer at 834 Labs. He'll be giving a talk today on something React related. I can't remember all the topics, to be honest with you. It will be awesome though, I'm sure.
How are y'all doing? Good? Awesome. A big clap to the teams. Another round of applause. It was really cool to be able to lead one of them. Fortunately, they were not able to present, but it was awesome. It was awesome. A lot of great areas for growth. Something I wish that me and my other co-lead, we both wish that we had done prior to getting jobs, because it really, reinforced a lot of those core like team building, communication skills that you just don't really get when you're just hands in, all in on code, right? So awesome. So super happy to be here. So we're going to talk about accessibility in React components. I titled this presentation, Let's Get Accessible and Functional, because I'll be using functional components, and I thought it sounded kind of cool. So, but yeah, essentially accessibility in React. Now, I'll be honest, I always ask myself this to anybody who comes up here. Why am I listening to you? And so one of the things that I keep in mind as a front-end engineer in my company is accessibility, because we service the health insurance industry. And so that means a couple of different things, but essentially folks with assistive technologies, due to whatever circumstances they may have. And as a front-end engineer, I will say I get screamed at a lot by my boss saying, hey, you need to do this because otherwise we will be out of compliance, right? I don't know if anyone else can attest to that. Thank you. But essentially, yeah, we're gonna be out of compliance. So you gotta make sure that one day when the auditors come and want to see all of our source code and documentation and why did you do this, why did you do that, we have to be able to answer that, right? So I want to keep my job, but also in my heart, as an engineer and any of us who work in the user interface, we want to make sure that we can access as many folks as possible. We can empower them as many folks with different lifestyles and anything that they may be able to experience our application to the best of their abilities, to the best of our abilities as engineers. So I linked a federal regulation, just kind of talking about, hey, you know, like there is some regulation out there that really enforces this ability for people with assistive technology to use our applications. So a couple of tools and a couple of sets of documentation. We're going to be using, or you're going to be seeing this Silktide extension, and it's a really cool Chrome extension that you can use that checks different various ways of accessibility, screen readers, impaired vision, so many different things that we'll get to dive into. That's really cool. There's also Google Lighthouse. And for those of my friends that, you know, you just have never seen it before, it's literally right here for you able to see. You know, you're so used to the elements and the console and all that stuff, right? But it's literally right here. And so it not just tests accessibility, but it will also test different viewpoints, different SEO, any of those things that just come to mind. So it's another great tool. Again, it's already in our browsers as you are using Chrome. So really cool. For documentation, this is the React docs. These are old React docs. So again, you know, it's like, oh, it's deprecated, we shouldn't touch it, right? But it touches on a lot of great concepts that just kind of remind us, you know, like I know it's one thing to be able to talk about this from a front-end perspective, but then since we're talking about React, right, there's specific React-specific things that are recommended here. And for some reason in the new docs, I was having a hard time finding this, so did it to the legacy docs. And obviously our Holy Grail, our Bible, our source, judge, jury, executioner, the MDM docs. Great, it covers great depth about accessibility and the different things that go into our lovely JavaScript and how you can implement that. So awesome. So I have two examples, and I'm guessing, I don't know how I am on time. I should have timed this, but whatever. So we have two examples. We have the Doge site. That's the Department of Government Efficiency. So, you know, it got hacked. It had all these memes on it, all that stuff, right? But it has a really good really good coverage of accessibility. Things make sense. There's a lot of semantic HTML in it. There's a flow to the site in general. And so that's a great example. However, a not so great example is Airbnb. And if anyone here works for Airbnb, I'm sorry. But okay, so we can see this. So now over here, on this side over here, I have the Silktide extension. And this is really cool. Wow, this screen is big. Wow. Okay, so you have all these ways that you can measure accessibility, all these different alternative text, screen reader, all that stuff. We're gonna look at the screen reader real quick. So, oh, I can't access the sound. Okay, but this part's important right here. So I'm gonna try to get out of the way. So you're accessing the Airbnb site, you're going on your next vacation, all that stuff, right? So I'm gonna, all right, this is where I'm at. Okay, so there's a narration and there is someone telling you what is being said as if you are using a screen reader. So if you can see, it's going through all of the categories, you know, OMG, caves, vineyards, cabins, right? All the things that you would, a user who's seeing the UI would see, right? And so every time that, or if I click on another icon, clicking on another icon, it does the same thing. So imagine, it sounds really annoying when you hear it, but imagine using a screen reader and having to navigate through this UI, and every time you want to go into the next type of property you want to rent, you keep hearing this. It's like detailing all of the labels of all the different properties. That's not good, right? So really, oh, that's the code. Really important thing to just keep in mind whenever we're having that opportunity to get to develop our user interfaces to do that. So, okay, so now I have two examples. First example, we're going to talk about something called ARIA describe by. I'm sure you've seen this before. And it's just very simple attributes that you can add to your elements so that you are able to give your interface that extra meaning. So I'm going to now make sure that I should have done this. Let's see, it should be going right now. Oh, it's not. So I got to do this. Cue the music. Doo, 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 right? Okay. All right. So now, let's see. Should be coming up soon. Okay. So this first example, you have a plain input and an accessible input. That's what I labeled it. But essentially, it's just detailing this whole idea of having things like buttons, form inputs. It's kind of the two main ones that I came across that don't have a string of text. Now you can argue and say, well, the form input could have a placeholder, or the button can have the word that you're going to click on, right? But essentially, like, these are just actors. These are things that will not be able to be picked up on by just the string of text that contains it, right? It's just a button, it's just an input. And we'll see here with the extension how it picks it up. The ARIA described by. Because essentially what's happening here is we have the plain input that's right here up here, and then you have the input that doesn't have anything, right? But then if you go for the accessible input, it's going to have the ARIA describe by. And I mean, I solved it for you, but essentially React recommends that you
create a unique ID for it. So that way, in the event that you have to render another component, you have to do any of those things that, lots of things can happen, and you have something that's you have 3 of these components on screen, for example, like how I do, or two on screen, then you'll all of a sudden not have to worry about, where is the input going to grab the aria described by, right? Because if you write, for instance, if you write aria described by my aria, and then now the next thing is tab indexes, modals, all that cool stuff. So I wanted to play a little quick game. All right. So I'm going to start navigating this screen through the tab button. Okay. So this tab right here, I'm going to be tabbing away. I want to see where it's going to land first. So we're going to play a game with everybody. If you want to play, all you got to do is raise your hand. You don't got to talk. You don't got to do nothing crazy. So once I hit tab, I'm going to go on the screen onto the first element. What do you think that element is going to be? If you think it's going to be on example 2, tab index modals, please raise your hand. Awesome. Beautiful. What about element with the text 1? Okay. 3. Okay. All right. What about number 2? Nobody likes number 2. Okay. What about number 3? No, you have to guess. Oh yeah, that's already assuming. Yeah. That's a great observation. But what about number 4? Okay. 5, 6. Okay, we got 1%, and then 6. Okay, so I already clicked, right? And now I'm gonna press the tab button. Yeah, let's go. Awesome. All right. Why did I do that? That doesn't make any sense. Hence the tab index. Okay, so let's go look at the code real quick. So we have example 2. Here it is. So as you can see, I have this section element, and I actually started the tab indexes on 4, 5, and 6. So it skipped 1, 2, 3. And so that's a great tool for you to use if you want to create the story, right? Navigate, tell the user where to go. Where are we going to go? Where is it going to start, right? Then you don't have to do this label like 1, 2, 3. I just did that to be weird, to be honest, but you can do 0. And that tells once all the tab indexes, depending on whatever number they are, kind of like a Z index, they're all like on layers. If they're all 0, then they're just going to go sequentially. If it's 1, if there's some 0s and some 1s, then, you can count up to 1, right? It's going to start from the 0 and then the 1. So, awesome. So now let's throw in a modal in the mix. So what you want to have a pop-up, you want to do a form, any of those kinds of things. So I'm going to keep messing around with my tab button. And I'm going to be like, hey, I want to show the dialogue. I labeled it a dialogue, but cool. So now you have a modal here. Now I'm going to try to tab out, I'm going to keep tabbing. If you can see, it doesn't exit the modal. And that's what you want, right? If you want to make sure that a user doesn't tab out of whatever form or a little area that you have, this is a great tool. And this is just simply a very over-engineered React way of just using the dialogue element, which is it's already there. It's vanilla HTML. So I made this into a component. I followed along on a tutorial and just like, okay, well, how could you do this in a very React-y way, right? And so one of the things that's especially important is, again, kind of going back to the first example, is, again, React, lots of renders, lots of things going on between the virtual DOM and the actual DOM, right? You can be passing on so many different things. It's always it's always checking for changes, right? But essentially, making this dialogue element
and then from there making it a component where you plug in a reference. So again, you have a reference, which is up here, and it's just using a use ref, so that way it keeps that persistent data. And then from there, you can just put in whatever you need in here to tell, hey, let's make the form, let's do whatever. And so things like that can really help us navigate that user who may not be using a mouse or any other kind of technology that really still helps convey that value, convey whatever it is that you need to convey in your UI. So again, you're tapping along. You can be tapping along without opening the modal, but as soon as you hit that guy, you ain't going nowhere, right? So, but yeah, so those are just a couple of things. Definitely a very light primer.
Next up is Roger Krishna, Senior Software Engineer at Loop. Not to be confused with Square.
Hi, everyone. Today I'll be talking about form validation in React using Zod and React Hook Form. Little bit about. Zod is a TypeScript-based schema validation library. It does a lot more things than just validate form validation. You can do API validation with it, form validation. You can even do runtime type checking with it. And it works perfectly with React Hook Form. React Hook Form is optimized for performance, unlike use state-based validation. It has simple APIs. They call it an API, but it's basically like a bunch of hooks that they give us so that we can do form validation with it. And also it works with controlled and uncontrolled components. Like if you want to have your own component, like you build your own component, and you can always use React Hook Form with it. It offers like a function called register. You can register your thing. So why Zod? Okay, you guys can see that. So if you want to validate a normal form, right? At the bottom, you can see on the left side, you can see some form data. It's in like a JSON format. You have to first check, okay, if the name exists or if the name doesn't exist. Now you have to create an error.name for it. Then you have to do the actual validation. Then, create an error for that and, go through the same thing again. With Zod, you can just create your validation over there. It's like an object that you create. Zod already offers some primitive types like, z.string, it has number, it has undefined, null, and also never. If you ever use TypeScript never, you can use that too. And it also has optional values. In age, it also has you can see at the end on the age, it has the optional over there. And it's pretty easy. It gives you a method called save parse on line number 10 on the left right side, I guess, for you guys. Yeah. Form data, you just send in the form data in there, and it will either give you a success or a failure. If you have a success, you just get the data. If it has an error, it shows you the error in a JSON format. It shows you exactly where it is. So how do we connect Zord with React Hook Form? You use resolvers. Like React Hook Form gives you a bunch of resolvers. Those are just a bunch of functions to use external validation into your React Hook Form. So you can use multiple, like not just Zord, like you can use Yup, you can use Joy too. What they do is that they do the validation outside of the form. So the form doesn't re-render every single time, but sends the errors through the form validation flow so that Zord gets it. And also you can show the errors in there. So to install Zord, it's pretty easy. Install Zord, React Hook Form, and also the resolvers. And first thing that you do anytime like you have Zord is to like define a schema. Anytime like you have your form schema, you have your name, email, password. You can write your name is, hey, the minimum name is 2. If it's less than 2, it's gonna throw an error over there. Email, you guys know email already. So, and password is minimum of 6. So connecting it to React Hook Form is pretty easy. You can see on line number 2 in the code that we are using the hook form resolvers from Zord. It already has a Zord resolver. And the use form is actually a hook that Zord React Hook Form gives us. And it has an option to keep a resolver, which is, Zord resolver and schema. Rendering the form is where you use the register method that you get from the use form. This is a normal input, like it's a normal HTML input, but you can register it with React Hook Form by using the register function, and the name, email, password should work the same way. And some advanced Zord, like you can do some advanced stuff with it. Like with the username, if you see, like I'm actually doing like an async function, I'm actually checking the database, saying that, hey, like if the username actually exists or not. You can do that. And you can also like include, let's just say you have 2 forms on 2 parts of the website, and you want to use schema from the second form into your first form. So you can just like import the schema. So on the top, you can see that I have a skills schema. I just imported it at the bottom into the skills array over there. So you can do that too. So demo, if you guys want to like follow through the demo or the GitHub link, it's over there. Let me just go to the demo quickly. So this is just basic validation, it's just name, full name, and email ID. So anytime you have an error from Zord, it's not gonna go away until you actually like fulfill the requirements. So like the name is here, so I have to like actually type in like at least 2 characters for it to go away. Same thing with this, you have to type in type in the whole thing for it to go away. There you go. You can submit the form, it's right here. I'm gonna show you just like few examples, which is the async validation. That's, I think, everybody's interested in. Write in admin, write in the email. It's going to submit. You can see that the bio is optional. Submitted. It's going to make that API call. It's going to be like, hey, like the username is taken. So now we have an error in here. So anytime I type in, it's going to keep on calling that API until the error is resolved. So let's just say I type in user. It's going to take a second, but if I type user1, it's going to go away. So yes. Click back user again, it's going to throw an error, but you can do this. And let me show you guys one more thing, which is the nested objects. As you can see, I pulled in the skills schema over here. Like you can have this schema is actually coming from a different form, but you can add it over here. You can have like if you have like Zord, if you're using arrays, you can have like a max of 5 skills. Like, let me just add this. So if I'm allowing 5 skills in here, let me submit this. But if the max is, okay, maximum of 3 skills allowed. So even if we are actually not writing our React code properly, the Zord is going to catch it and be like, hey, like the max is actually 3 skills. Okay, let me go back to the demo. Okay. So there are other use cases for Zord too, which, as I said, API validation, environment variables, database validation, state management, and CLI. If you have like a CLI-based application, you can even check for that. I'm going to show 2 examples for this, which is the API-based validation. Let's just say you're calling a fetch from your own backend service somewhere, and both sides are using TypeScript. You can actually see that like we have the user schema, and we are using a safe parse method from Zord. And we are checking that, hey, like, the ID must be at least 1, or the name must be at least 5 characters. If not, it's going to error out. So that's useful whenever you're doing like an API call. And for environment variable validation, I think you can use Zord in your CI/CD pipelines. I think that's one of the best use case for it. You can see that in the node environment on line number 6, I have like development, production, and test. And I can be like, hey, like if the node environment doesn't exist, just exit out of the CI/CD or like throw an error over there. Or if your database URL, like if you're checking for specific things, right? Instead of using test, you're actually pushing production to your test environment. You can check for that and just, exit out of that CI/CD pipeline or throw an error so that it will be helpful for you. That should be it, actually.
I don't know if y'all count your steps, but I'm getting mine in today. All right, Farhad. He's a software engineer at Geocom.
Hi. Hello, everyone. This is Farhad. I work as a software engineer at a Minnesota-based company, Geocom. So what we do, basically we build maps. Our application is a safety and security application where we build safety and security application for basically schools and colleges. So what happens is in schools and colleges, lots of medical issue and security issues happens. So what we do is we take the blueprint of the building and then we get all the rooms and everything. And when someone calls 911, we exactly know from where that call is coming from. So basically, if someone is sick and he is calling from a bathroom, we create a evacuation route for the victim, and we create a route for the law enforcement, medical, or fire department to reach to there faster. So let's say in this building, if something happens here, police might not know that like exactly this is where the problem is happening, and that's why like our motto is like to minimize the response time as much as possible. So where in this image we can see just we have a evacuation route from room number 106 to outside door. So this is a sample that like this is what we are basically making. So today I'm not talking about the product we are building, rather one of the library we use for the map application, it's Leaflet. It's a very lightweight application. Basically, it's kind of, very easy. So one of the latest version it has is, I think previously it had a JavaScript SDK, but now it's kind of component basic, like it's kind of a React component. So it's way easier now with React. So it's very simple. Its performance is really good, and work with mobile and desktop. This is an example of a React map. So I already said about all these things like advantage of Leaflet. It's really lightweight and easy to configure with React. And this is how we install React Leaflet. We need to just install it, add some CSS files, and this is your map. So it's very simple. So building an application with a map is really that simple. So this is the code and it's done. So I'll be talking a little bit about like how we optimize our app. So one of the problem or one of the issue our app has is we handle lots of data, lots and lots of data. For example, in this room, every corner is a feature to us. So this corner would be a feature, this electric outlet would be a feature. So combining all those features and rendering all those for larger buildings. For example, I'm relatively newer to Texas, but there is a university called UNT probably. They have a 26-story building. So they are our customers. So imagine how tough it is to capture all the features for a 26-story building and render it in a map. So we struggle a lot with optimization. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the optimization technique we use. These are nothing we invented. These are typical things. I'll just go through all of those. That's it. So one of the issue we have is sometimes we have to load lots of images. So when the application loads, we don't load any image that's not necessary at the starting. So we use lazy load with suspense to show the user a message. So this is a code sample of that. On top of that, in lots of cases where at the starting of the app, if the image size is bigger, so we work with GeoTIFF images, like image with location informations. So those are really heavy images. So what we do is we downsample a lot. Let's say if I have a 200 by 200 image, we downsample it to 20 by 20. And once the whole image is loaded, we render it. Otherwise, we don't. As usual, with everyone, we use React.memo and other, optimizations like use memo or callbacks. One of the thing is like we don't use it pretty often unless the component or unless the calculation is very heavy, because using these tools is important, but for a small task, it doesn't make any sense to do all these, because these things also cost processing time. So whenever we render a bigger component or bigger map layer, then we use these techniques. As usual, when the user interacts with map, especially when they zoom and pan the map, then I have to render all the layers for all the stores, all the floors of the building. So that is very expensive. So unless the user is settled down at a pan or zoom, uh, we don't render the maps. So this is also very common application, but still these are useful in our application. And there are lots of metrics to track how your website is performing. Especially there are some technique. Some people use old version of browsers to check whether their application is really efficient or not. So this is one way. Apart from that, there is a metric called LCP, largest contentful paint. So this is one metric we use, but on top of that, there are other vital metrics like FID and CLS. As usual, Chrome DevTools helps. They have a profiler. Oh no, sorry. And there is another tool called Lighthouse. So these are the tools we use. And for React DevTool, React Profiler really helps. It shows why your component is rendering. Apart from that, there is another library called Why Did You Render? This shows component-wise how you render and what's causing your rendering. I feel like, I mean, these are all common informations, but one of the common misconception people has is like, if the props change, the React component re-renders, but that's not true. The React component can re-render even though your props doesn't change, because if the parent component changes, anything happens to the parent component, all the childs are re-rendered. So that's become really costly for us. So one of the technique we use to get rid of that is we always try to change the tree a little bit, so that we always try to render heavy component as the component itself, I mean, so that it doesn't re-render if something happens on the parent component, because those calculations are really heavy. And I think one of the common technique is virtualization. So it is basically, it doesn't render anything unless it is in the view. So it helps to render things in list. So let's say we have a infinite scrolling of something. So when we scroll all of the stuff, it doesn't bring anything unless it is not in the view. So this really helps. And there are sometimes we do off-screen rendering as well. So if the user is not using anything, and if the user or the app is idle, we bring stuff on the back end. I think that's it. This is my first meetup, so I didn't know what are the things I should discuss. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, our last speaker, but absolutely not least, Faye. Yes.
All right, here we are. This is my state management with Zustand. So first of all, do you know what is state management? Raise your hand if you do. Oh, everybody already knows about it, but unfortunately, I didn't know it because I only started working the front end because of my cohort team. They forced me to work on the front end. Thank you. That's why our logo is in the center of this presentation. Pragmatic plumber, pragmatic plumber, pragmatic plumber. Self-promotion. Thank you. So yeah, so first, let me say this: it's the front end is not easy as I thought. So this is talking from a backend developer's perspective. So this looks like a 4D chess to me. First of all, we have a 2D screen already, and there are layers, and there are invisible containers inside the containers and inside the containers. And worst of all, they will move, they will change when you click on the little tiny thing. My God, I mean, I couldn't handle this from the back end. All I do is return the value you want. That's it. That's why we need state management. And today I'm going to introduce a manager, Zustand. What is Zustand? It actually pronounces as Zustand. It's a German word. It literally means state. Well, I know what you're thinking. Wait, that sounds like English, right? From Zustand to Zustand, not much difference. Yes, that's the beauty of it. It's not much different from the tools you already know. I'll show you next. Well, my question again, how many, does everyone know Redux here? I do. Okay, fewer people know. I'm more confident talking about it now. So Redux, the expert, please tell me, what do you need in the Redux? Or what does Redux need? What parts are there? Users, the store, that's 2 already. What else? Slices. Oh, that's not even on my slides, but 3 things. What else? Actions, 4 things already. Middleware. Yeah, that sounds like a little bit advanced. So I will say it's 4 things at least. That's what this manager needs, 4 things. But look at the Zustand. What can you find? Actions. Yes, you spotted it. It looks just like functions and some states, types, state, that's it. You have some values, you have some functions, that's all you need. Why do you need reducers? That can be reduced. That's the first thing to cut off. Because Zustand does it all for you. And actually, this example is from their official documentation. They are very humble about their simplification. Here, the actions part actually doesn't need to be there. At least in my example, I will show you next. Now, time to move to the other screen. Okay. I was told I should stop mirroring and start extending. Okay. So this is the code of a pragmatic plumber again. So if you remember, we had, oh, where is my browser? If you remember, our website looked like this. Oh, stop flashing. It looks like this. It's a very clean, light green color. The only issue is in our code, the color settings are actually everywhere. We did a lot of work in the underground to show you this green, clean interface. So here I'm gonna manage it a little bit. I put some colors into this store. So this is a Zustand store. As you can see from here, create from Zustand. That's the only thing you need to import. You don't need to import all the things from React or Redux, but create, that's it, create a store. And in the store, very simple. We have some colors. We have some functions change color, that's it. I promise that's all I need. And so where does the color go? Like how do you get the color from this store? Here, one line. It looks like a hook. It is a hook. This Zustand thing is actually a hook library. It's only about 5% of the size of a Redux. If size matters to you, if you care how fast your page loads, yeah, this is something to worry about. So here we got the background color, then we can use it anywhere, like here. And well, typically this is done. I got my color as constant, pass the color into the class name, that's it. But this morning I was working with it, it just doesn't work. It breaks. I was desperate. I was asking my Cohort team member, Josh, what's going on? Why it doesn't work? And Josh told me, well, there is another place that also manages the color. Oh, here we are. That's why we need a manager. That's why we can't just pass color around. We need some centralized store to pass color to 2 different places at once. And now we remember this store, but well, we choose this green color for St. Patrick's Day. This is the color of Chicago River on St. Patrick's Day. It's almost Easter now, like I dress yellow today. So I want to change the color of this app to another color to show you the change function of the Zustand. But I saw my teammate wearing green pants and green hands, so they doubled down on green color. I'm like, okay, how about make it even greener? 1, 2, 3. Here we go, in one click. And all I did was adding this function to the code. Oh, now I have to scroll. My paste messed up. Where is my magic button? Oh, here we are. Again, we get the function from the store by just one line. One line is all you need to get the function. And now you can plug this function into anywhere on the screen. Can you guess where I clicked just now? I can do it again. Here. That's all you need. So how many steps does it take? Let's recap. We have a store. We got the function. And by the end, we plug it into the button. 3 steps, 1, 2, 3. You get everything. Forget about the reducers, please. Now let's go back to the slides. I know some of you will be thinking, for such a simple function, why not use context? Isn't the context even simpler, even shorter to write? Well, one little thing is you need to wrap your app with a provider, but I'm fine with that. The thing is, this is what context will give you. You want one slice information from the context, and the whole app re-renders. I just learned the render monitoring tool from Farhad. Yes, I'm very nervous to look at our rendering. I'm gonna flash paint it. So we are doing good. We are doing very well. We only render what we need. The only thing is what is flashing in the background? When I'm not clicking anything, it's still flashing. Anyone realize the problem? Yes, we didn't turn it off. But so that's why we have a little hole here. But now we know it's an easy fix with Zustand. We know how to manage this state easily. So yeah, that's another to-do things. After this speak, we need to fix this. And here we go. So time to talk about little pit holes. Oh no, how do I go back? I just revealed my whole slides. Oh no. Render view. Not like that. All right. So the first, most important thing is shop only what you really need from the store. I know it's very tempting to write code like this one below. Why not just loot the store? Isn't that even less code to write? Just to get the whole state. I want everything. But the thing is that not only your wallet will hurt, your app performance will suffer too. Because that essentially sending you back to the use context example we just saw. If you get a store like this, the whole app will render. And even nothing changes, it will re-render. And another thing that actually bothers me is this, oh, I'm sorry. Is this part? Can you tell the difference from the do's and the don'ts? One less line. Can you guess what happened to that line? Like why the don'ts doesn't work? Well, the thing is that once you add that additional line, you park your information, you park information into a cart, and then render it. It no longer has a value. So that is a pitfall I bothered me this morning. No matter what I do, it just won't change. I forgot my changes. I abandoned my cart. I abandoned my things in my cart. So this is a little tips for beginners. Like they said, it's all about simplicity and performance. We want simplicity, but we don't want to sacrifice performance. Here, simplicity actually makes things work, and an extra line could break things. So keep it simple. So, well, this is actually 90% of the things that I didn't talk about. Those are all the feature highlights that from the official documentation. So let's start here. For people who are already familiar with Redux and the context, no worries, you are covered because Zustand is fully compatible with these libraries, and that's you are already familiar with. Actually, in our code, we do have a context, and we also have a Zustand. They can coexist at the same time. The only thing is you don't want to mix too many things into context, especially theme colors, which will cause a re-render the whole app. Don't mix it with context, but they can coexist. You can even wrap a context around the store and make the store global, accessible everywhere, but it's not required. It just makes you feel more comfortable. And here a middleware I heard earlier from, yes. So middleware also exists in Zustand. The one that I particularly care about is persist. So the state I just demoed actually doesn't stay. If I refresh, every time I refresh, it goes away. But it's very easy to save the state either in your local state or even better, remotely, like this one. You can even save it remotely. They call it an API to get your state, which I didn't demo, but their documentation is a pleasure to read because it's about this long. And yeah, this is also important, async actions. So sometimes an action is not just simple like a click. You have to wait for an API call to load to make a decision what to do next. And yes, async also exists in Zustand. You can, it's also a one-line code. You just do an async wait, and it'll wait until the function executed, then trigger the action. Last but not least, actually, it can work without React. It can work without framework. The plain vanilla JavaScript. Well, if time allows, I would like to do another demo with just a vanilla JavaScript to see how simple that is. And simply enjoy Zustand. Thank you.
That was pretty mediocre, but no, seriously, give it up for Faye. I think she killed it. She really killed it. To be honest, I think all the speakers really did well tonight. I think all the teams did really well tonight. So a couple housekeeping items. Obviously, I forgot to do it in the beginning because I was so nervous. I was nervous for the teams. Like my heart was racing the whole time. It was freaking. Anyway, thank you to our sponsors for tonight. Number one, thank you to Yum Brands, the building that we're in. Please. To be honest, we've had some crazy requests. They've met them every single time. They've never been a blocker for it. We did our conference here. We're doing our conference again here in September. So they donate the space to us. They don't charge us anything, but it kind of gives us the ability to do what we do where we're charging $30 for tickets. So that way, I saw the online chat. A lot of people are already talking about how they've already bought their flights. That's pretty cool. So if you're still online, can't wait to see you. For those in person, yes, this is true. This is true. The other sponsor for tonight is literally us because we paid out of pocket for the pizza. So normally we try to have a sponsor. If you or your organization want to sponsor a meetup, let us know. We don't monetize it anyway. It's literally, can you cover pizza? So just let us know if that's something you want to do. I want to make a call out to our next meetup, actually our next couple meetups. The very next meetup that we're doing, and this is actually a rare occasion. I never know what the next meetup is until after the first meetup is done. But we plan out the next 3. That's pretty cool. The next meetup, we do meetups generally every 2 weeks. So the next meetup that we are doing is, and this is actually by multiple requests, a mock interview night. And so if you're someone that is trying to get a job, maybe you're trying to get your first job, maybe you're trying to get your 7th job, but you kind of want to have some opportunities to interview, mock interview night. I actually just found this out recently. I think I shared this with you. I just found out recently on meetup.com, you can rank events like that you've been to, and we can see the rankings. So we have like 783 ratings on meetup.com. We have a 4.8 rating, which cool. We had 3 one-star reviews. So we know who you are. You will find a Zoom meeting on your calendar with me, you, and HR. But I saw one feedback from our last mock interview night. And so if you are a professional in tech, whether higher up or just somebody with a lot of experience and you want to be an interviewer, please let me know. I think last time, I think we had 8 or 9 interviewers, and one of the feedback was there were just so many people there, I couldn't get interviewed enough. So if we can get some more volunteers for that, if you feel generous to give back to the community, we want to enable you in whatever way that we can. But just know, the next meetup will be a mock interview night. For those that attend online, this will not be a virtual one. Unfortunately, it'll just be in person. The meetup after that, May 10th, I believe is the date, we are doing a architecture night. So we have one of the speakers, she's actually, for the lack of a better term, because I just don't have it, an absolute badass. She's a CTO of a company called Ad Media. I'm talking about microseconds of transactions and solutions that she's built is just on another level. And we got to geek out on a call the other day, and I realized, wow, she really wants to talk about this. So she'll be one of the speakers. She'll be here for that. But we have 2 other speakers, and I have one more spot if somebody's interested at a very high level. We're definitely going to keep it a little bit more on the advanced side, but of course we'll have something for everybody. If you're interested in talking about something like that, let me know. The meetup after that, it's something. What did I say it was going to be? It's a night of something. I genuinely just remembered 30 seconds ago and I forgot. A night of architecture. Oh, a night of AI. We're doing another night of AI. I've seen all of the emails and comments about this one. Our last night of AI was a huge hit. We had like 300, I think it was our largest meetup ever. We're going to do that one again. And actually, the cool thing with this one, we have 2 guest speakers that are actually flying in from Florida for that one. So we're still lining up speakers for that. So if you're interested in speaking about that, let me know. We always try to give opportunities to everybody. So whether you're a very seasoned speaker or it's your first time, we're more than happy to kind of coach you through it, help you out, get you there and feeling confident. Outside of that, is there anything I'm missing? I ask that every single time, and then when we would leave, we're like, damn, we missed something. Oh, if you're in this room and you're not in the Discord, please fix that mistake. We have an amazing community on there. We have almost 13,000 developers in there from all over the world, but we have a section dedicated to Dallas, so you can talk with all the local developers around and all the good stuff. If you have an idea for a meetup or there's something that you want to see, if there's a need for the community, we always try to fill it in whatever way that we can. Let us know about that as well. And I think outside of that, the only thing left to do, one thing, it is tradition around here, and we hope you partake in the tradition with us, to come up and give me 5, no. If you come up to the front, we always do one large, very large group picture. It's kind of our way of staying a community. We invite you to be a part of this. Please come up to the front. For those that are online, if you want to be a part of this as well, turn your cameras on. We will not force anybody to do this, but if you want to be part of the picture, we're going to put you on the big screen behind us. And for those online, you can be part of it that way. Please, everybody come to the front if you can. If we can try and move these tables back, because this is the one thing that kills us for every group photo, and we always regret it after the fact.